Some years ago, I was talking to a fellow dating coach about the situation that I was having. And he told me, go look up gaslighting. And then he told me the story about a woman from his past who was a narcissist who had messed with his head and almost derailed his future. That conversation set me off on a quest to learn more about narcissism. And it blew my world apart. I suddenly understood things about myself, about past partners, even my family that I had never understood before. It changed me forever. Now, today, of course, that word narcissism is everywhere. It's on the news, it's on survivor groups, it's on support forums, it's anywhere relationships are being discussed. And it has become so easy to accuse someone of being a narcissist, which is why I wanted to make this video. My take on narcissism is a bit different from the usual everyday thing you hear. The usual story about narcissists is that they are evil monsters who destroy other people's lives without a shred of concern or compassion. And for those of you who have been in relationships with narcissists, that story sounds pretty accurate. When you're in pain, you need that moral certainty that you're good and he's bad. You're innocent, he's guilty. You're right, he's wrong. And, there's tons of evidence to support that. But what I have found is that it's not helpful in the long term. It is just one stage in your healing and hopefully a temporary one. When you first learn about narcissism, you get this feeling of moral superiority because you know that you are not a narcissist. You don't put yourself first. You're always thinking about other people, and you would never be that cruel or selfish. But that's just the beginning of your understanding. As you integrate your knowledge, you start to see that there's shades of gray, and you start to realize that you were a part of the dynamic. Because what attracted you to him in the first place? And why didn't you walk away when you saw how he was? Was there something in him that you admired and maybe even wished for yourself? Now, those are hard questions and they're extremely uncomfortable. They're sticky, but they're necessary because they shift you out of blame into ownership, and ownership will set you free. Hi, I'm Amy Waterman. I am a love expert here at yourbrilliance.com, and I am so glad you are here. In this video, we're going to face 3 uncomfortable truths about narcissists so that we can do our own healing. Truth number 1, there is something incredibly compelling about narcissism. Not everyone is attracted to narcissists. Some people look at a narcissist and they just shrug, they're like, whatever. But if you have ever been in a relationship with a narcissist, then something in you finds, or at least has found, that quality very compelling. Why do you think you might have been attracted to that quality in him? Now, if your answer is, but I didn't know he was a narcissist back then, I'm going to gently suggest that might be a cop-out. Did he seem confident? Did he seem decisive? Like a take charge kind of guy? And did you like that in him? I hear from so many women who complain about their inability to find a strong man. They want this alpha male who will sweep them off their feet and make decisions and pay for dinner and not ask them for permission. That's the classic romantic hero, right? But what does that also sound like? Well, to me, it sounds like love bombing. And if you go back and you look at a lot of those classic romantic movies, there's a dark element to them. Like you could say, this guy is crazy in love, and that's why he's acting that way. But if you look at it from another angle, you see a narcissist who's love bombing this poor girl and won't stop until he gets her. We've actually been trained to believe that love bombing is a sign of true feelings rather than a man's desire to possess something he's decided he wants. Plus, it doesn't help that the alpha male is a classic narcissist. Alpha males are self-centered. That's why they're so successful. They focus on going after what they want and not thinking about the consequences. The typical alpha male is not concerned about other people's feelings and helping others. He is concerned about achieving his goals and living a life of mastery. And so if you love this idea of the alpha male sweeping you off your feet, then don't be surprised if you end up with a guy who's more narcissist than not. Truth number 2, we don't just allow, but encourage narcissists to act the way they do. Something that often frustrates me is when people blame, like, say, a political leader for ruining the country. And they forget the fundamental truth of democracy, which is that no one has any power unless we give it to them. And nowhere is that truer than in relationships. A relationship takes 2 willing people. And if just one of you says, nope, I'm not doing this anymore, then there is no relationship. You can walk away at any time. You can tell him that behavior is not okay with me. And then you can break it off if he keeps doing it. But the reason we don't feel like we have that freedom is because we have a habit of being unable to say no. We don't know how to express boundaries. We don't even know how to enforce the boundaries we have. And we are really susceptible to a good pity party. And we forgive everything he does to us. And we do that because it makes us feel like good people. We get something out of being the selfless one. We don't want to be the bad person who says no and then ends up creating conflict and hurt feelings because of the silly boundary that probably isn't absolutely necessary if it comes down to it. And I'm sure you've noticed narcissists hate boundaries. So any conversation where you try to set limits and rules is going to blow up in your face. It's not going to end up well. So why do that to yourself? You just want everything to be happy and fun. You want to preserve the harmony. And so, of course, you're not going to draw a hard line in the sand that might make him feel bad about himself. Well, that's on you because not all women feel that way. Many women are perfectly happy upsetting a man. They know they're not responsible for his feelings. And so if he gets upset because she has other plans, she goes ahead with her plans and trusts that he's a big boy. He can get over it. Now, those women don't tend to end up in relationships with narcissists. So this is your invitation. Get comfortable with upsetting people. Say no when everyone wants you to say yes. Point out that inconvenient fact that no one wants to hear. Lay down a boundary and don't move it just because someone thinks it's unfair. Don't take on other people's feelings. If something you do upsets them, then let them be upset because they can deal with it. And as you may find, as you embrace this bad part of you, is that you no longer feel attracted to men who refuse to apologize because you've owned that part of yourself, so you don't have to seek it out in someone else. Which brings us to number 3, you need a little narcissism in your life too. Narcissism is not a bad thing. Like every trait, narcissism exists on a spectrum. And some is good. You just don't want to take it to the extreme and end up with narcissistic personality disorder. A healthy degree of narcissism, I think, is responsible for so many amazing things. You have to be pretty full of yourself and self-centered to put yourself out there as a music artist or a performer or an entrepreneur or a CEO. And young people's natural narcissism inspires them to believe that the world is just waiting for their voice and for their talent, which is why, as a parent, I can't condemn narcissism at all. All children are naturally narcissistic, and that's how they're supposed to be. They need to focus on themselves so that they can grow. I believe that a lot of us, and particularly us empaths, could use a little bit more narcissism in our lives. Empaths have the opposite problem of narcissists. While narcissists center the self, empaths decenter the self to the extent that they absorb other people's energy. A little more healthy narcissism would help empaths create a clearer sense of self and avoid taking responsibility for everyone else's feelings. And so there you have it. The road to healing does not lie in demonizing narcissists. Narcissists are not some cartoon caricatures out to get you. Rather, narcissism is a trait that can be good or bad depending on how it's used. And if you don't want to end up with a narcissist again, then it's up to you to heal that part of yourself that finds them so compelling. So, have you healed from a narcissist? And if so, what helped you the most? If you feel comfortable, share your story with me in the comments. Take really good care of yourself, and I will see you next time.